out of their rooms. So we won't, that's the break at 11. So we're just switching the time. So rest easy. Hello again. It's me, Eric. I'm going to be doing the basics of marketing presentation. We have a lot smaller of a group today, which is nice in a lot of ways, because it will let you all kind of ask questions, and we can be a little more conversational. So if you have something you'd like to say or ask, just interrupt me. I'll do my best to answer it, and you all probably might know something too and are welcome to interject, give your advice. I'll say it again that I am a resource for districts and for you all at MACD. So we're going to cover some tools and stuff today. And if you all forget how to do something, you can just send me an email or call me. No problem at all. So I was kind of have a lecture-based section early on. So talking about fundamental concepts of marketing, kind of getting the lingo a little bit. So we're all talking the same language, thinking about audiences and stuff like that. And then I'll talk about building connection with an audience, and how to build like outreach plans, kind of thinking about just simple strategy, because I think people can get bogged up in tools, and if only they had the right social media channel. Maybe we should get on TikTok or something. It's like, I think strategy is important. So we'll talk a little bit about that and maybe do like a group brainstorm kind of situation. And then we'll go into some live demos about with WordPress. We'll cover Canva, some other little things, Asana, Facebook, the like business manager, I forget what it's called, because I don't use it that much, but it looks super useful, so I want to share it. So stuff like that. Let's see. Oh, I guess just a little bit about you heard a little bit about my background yesterday, but I am not a marketing guru. I kind of have an art and design background, so a little bit more like, I don't know, a little less strategy, and I don't quite know the terminology for everything. So I'm not going to sound like a marketing expert, but I think I have a little bit of familiarity with the subject. And in the education committee, we've had some trainings on this stuff. And so a lot of what I'm presenting today is kind of that repackaged in my own way. So. Yeah, and a lot of the tools that I'll show you today, I kind of starting on, they're all going to be, the demos are going to be pretty basic. And you all can kind of let me know what you need, if you need specific help with anything. But I'll just start with like the basic stuff, and we can modify as needed. So this is kind of what it looks like. I might have to go fast through the beginning just so we have enough time for the WordPress and the Canva demo and all that. I think that's really the meat and potatoes of everything. So these are kind of, there's a survey that went out for districts on kind of what they want to see in the basics of marketing presentation, or just marketing presentations in general. And I think Laura's presentation is going to be a little bit more based on the surveys, just because she's not doing like live demos. But these are kind of the things that I was thinking about when I put this together. So effective ways to use social media, basics of marketing, Canva, Facebook website. I honestly, the biggest one I think for districts, and this was like the most popular point, was how to overcome the challenges of time, funding, and capacity with marketing. I know you all are like really stretched for resources, and even the thought of digging out another 2 hours per month to do marketing is tough. That's a tough. So how do you do more with the time that you've allocated already, right? And I think a lot of that, it comes down to hopefully that marketing toolkit that I was talking about yesterday. My hope, and also just knowing that I'm a resource for you all, so we can make all those routine things a little bit faster. And also, as you become familiar with tools, things speed up too. And posting meeting minutes is not a 20-minute task. It's a 5-minute, 2-minute task. Let's see, anything else to say about this? Yeah, tools, effectiveness. So this is kind of the marketing fundamentals section, the first section I wanted to talk about. This is like, just so we can start getting in the thought process of the marketing world, marketing folks. How I kind of think about it. I think it's very helpful to think about marketing in 3 separate kind of distinct categories, I guess. Goals, systems, and impact. This is like, when you talk about marketing, these are like, those marketing activities that you do fall into those 3 categories. Your goals are kind of, you're talking about planning progress. Systems, you're talking about how you make progress. That's like the making stuff happen. The act of posting on Facebook, act of posting your stuff on the website. And then, changing your logo or whatever. That's kind of your systems. And then impact, in the impact category, is a little bit, it's more helpful to think about it as like measurement. You're kind of measuring your impact. And that's important because it's evidence of your progress and evidence that your systems that you're setting up are working, so that you can refine your approach. You can iterate and refine your approach, because if what you're doing, if no one's reading your posts, no one's reading, going to your website, people aren't showing up at the same amount of people are showing up at your events. What's the point? You're wasting your time, and you need to kind of rethink your goals and rethink your systems. So, talk a little bit about goals. This is kind of not super specific to marketing in a way, in that, like, I think you're taking a lot of your goals from your mission and your values and your strategic plan. Like, I feel like your marketing goals should be related to that if you have those things, right? But I think a lot of people think about goals as purely good things, and like, what value do I want to get next? But you have to remember that goals have 2 sides, right? There's the benefits of attaining your goal, and then there's also like some often pretty severe costs to trying to make that goal a thing. And I think remembering that as you set your goals is pretty useful, and trying to find a balance between costs and rewards. So it's not just about setting goals, it's setting productive goals. And I used the example TikTok. Should all conservations get TikToks? Love TikTok. Big big dancer, but probably shouldn't get on TikTok. That's probably a bad goal. If we want to be, well, I'll rephrase. Being on TikTok as a conservation district, for those of you who don't know, TikTok is a fairly new social media platform that's like kind of competing with Snapchat and Instagram, and it's video based, and it has a young audience, a lot of people maybe my age and younger, and it's a hoot, and there's a lot of dance videos. It's pretty fun, and annoyingly addicting maybe for some. But if we're conservation districts want to become like TikTok famous in Montana, that's going to take like a lot of work. I think we're not set up, like we clearly don't have the literacy to be joining TikTok. Like that infrastructure is not here, which is totally fine. Our audience doesn't use TikTok, probably a good amount of our audience. It's a younger generation. They probably don't own ranches. I think educating young people and stuff like that is definitely part of our mission, but even TikTok might not be the best way to reach them. I think it's tough to get educational content in a 7-second clip with some music over it. So I think the benefits, those are kind of the benefits. They don't really line up with our goals. And then also let's think about the costs of trying to become TikTok famous. It would take a lot of time. We'd have to do a training like this all about TikTok, which would be horrible. And we would, it would be horrible. No, it'd be horrible. I honestly don't know how to use TikTok, just to be clear. And then, I don't know, we'd have to like hire a social media consultant at $100 an hour to tell us that we need to have like a giveaway for like free, I don't know, irrigation system or something for our 100th follower. Like, I don't know, it's just not worth it. There are better uses of our time and money. So we're setting SMART goals, right? We know I probably kind of annoying to hear about SMART goals, but there's a reason why they're so widely used. You want your goals to be specific. You want them to be measurable. So trying to think about that impact ahead of time a little bit, like how you're gonna measure measure that goal, like achieving that goal, to make sure that you've attained it, right? Not setting kind of ambiguous things. Achievable, not TikTok famous kind of thing. You want it to be relevant to your organization, and you want it to be time bound. I think too often we set goals and there's not really a time when we think. I think it's putting a time constraint on your goals allows you to start thinking about the systems that you need to attain it, or to make that goal a reality. Kind of, you start thinking about how could I possibly, make this thing happen in the first quarter of 2021, whatever. And then like I was talking about earlier, it's helpful to refer to your organization's larger strategy so that it fits in and meshes with what you're trying to do already. Example of a SMART goal, simple: increase the number of people who like the MACD Facebook page in the first quarter of 2022. That's like, it's measurable. It's not measurable. This is a typo. Increase the number of people who like the MACD Facebook page in the first quarter of 22. I should say by 10% or something. Give a number so that we have something to aim for. Because increasing the number of people who like the MACD Facebook page is pretty, they could be 1 to a gazillion. So 10%, say 10%. It's measurable, so right, and attainable. I think MACD has like 800 or something people who like our page. So I don't know. I feel like that's really not too many people for over the course of a few months, you know, getting organizations to share your posts, stuff like that. You'll kind of pick people up, just talking to your friends, even, you know, you don't have to reach out to strangers. I think just reaching out to people who trust you to like your page, right, will do a lot because they have people that you don't. So, what does R stand for? Let's see. Relevant. Thank you. Is relevant because our, you know, Facebook is, I feel like a lot of our membership uses Facebook. Time bound 2022, first quarter 2022. Systems. This is kind of the second main marketing category. So what is your system for achieving your goal? I was kind of talking about this a little bit, but if you want to increase your likes by 10%, you write out a plan and start thinking about how you're gonna make that a reality. Gonna get your friends to like it. Gonna ask organizations in your orbit, watershed groups, stuff, right? When you post something, send them a quick DM. Hey, can you share this event? And you know, that will have a big impact. So this is a little stat, not my stat. This is something that Laura shared that I thought was pretty striking, or I guess obvious, but also I don't know, very concrete. And goals are 2 to 3 times more likely to succeed if you have a planned system for achieving them. That's kind of like, I don't know if any of you care about like habit formation and like how to force yourself to build new habits. It's a great skill that I don't have. And I'm very aware that like, you know, you have to have a system in place when you set your New Year's resolution, whatever. You know, you need to, it's not just about setting your goal. You gotta think it through. How are you gonna make it happen? Write it down. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like, because this is kind of the a big part of marketing. Right? And then impact, right? How are we measuring the thing that we're doing? Making sure that it's having an effect. So there's a lot of ways to do this. Facebook and a lot of, I keep talking about Facebook, but it has a lot of like tracking tools. There's a lot of these platforms have like after the, just they're always tracking your stuff. Naturally, like you don't have to do anything to like check your stats on a certain post or something like that. But I think when you're talking about like soft metrics, and so hard metrics being like, this is the amount of people who liked the MACD Facebook page prior to our campaign, and this is how many like our Facebook page after the campaign. It's, you know, 10% increase. That's very like hard, concrete data on how your actions might have changed or work towards that goal. Mm-hmm.
So if the previous administrator has set up, you know, whatever, your social media, Facebook, let's say,
yeah,
you know, ours is like fictitious guy leading to our conservation district page, which isn't really set up like a business page. Would you you recommend trying to modify that, or would you maybe recommend just deleting that and starting over?
I would have to look up whether there's a way to like transfer something into a business page. The tool that I'm going to talk about later is like the there are certain tools that are available when you have a page versus when you're like a fake person.
Sure.
Like you're set up as first name. What's your conservation? Stillwater? Or
I'm McCone,
McCone.
and we're set up as George
Stillwater.
McCone.
McCone. Yeah. So you got first name McCone, last name.
Yeah.
Is
But
there?
then under George McCone, you have the McCone Conservation District page.
Okay.
Yeah. it
So I do
does,
the
but
same thing.
I guess I'm
after
just
Jordan.
wondering if, you know, you get a
Is that
more,
reason?
a better impact or, you know, get more people if it wasn't set up, you know, as a fictitious
So the
person.
only reason that was done that way when we started, because we do it the exact same way,
Yeah.
is because then you don't have to constantly transfer the admin when you quit and Gerald takes it, you know, so the Alfred Jordan has a password and a login, and they and you should be an admin on this Macomb Conservation District page. Now, whether that's right or wrong, you can answer that, but that's
No,
the
that's good.
reason they were set up that way.
Yeah. No, and
Because
that's
mine's the same.
yeah. So your personal Facebook, if you have a personal Facebook, can get added to that McCone Facebook page. You can get added as an administrator of that Facebook page. And
So can I ask one more?
Yes.
Clarify, I guess. So does George McCone post anything, or do you always post in the district page?
It just depends how much I'm paying attention.
Okay.
So
I-
You know, because like, I know I could change that, but,
Yeah.
So
you know,
would
I
we-
guess just having a fictitious person out there, you know, nobody, even in Macomb, really knows to go look for George
Well,
McCone.
they shouldn't be.
So the way Donna set ours up, she set up Lower Muscle Shell as her like personal page that has the person's information in there. And then she set up a page off of that for Lower Muscle Shell Conservation District. And
Yes.
so
that's
I
the
get
same.
friends on Lower Muscle Shell and I direct them to
Yes.
the Lower Muscle Shell Conservation page. So you should be able to change George McCone's name to, you know, just McCone or
Something more realistic.
McCone CD or something like that, and then direct people to your other page.
Yeah, right.
So
Because just like me personally being on Facebook, I mean, unless I would know them, you know, I wouldn't be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna friend George McCone, so I can
Well,
get
and
his
you don't
name.
really need George McCone to have friends. Like, that's just so that you can have somebody in charge of your district page that wouldn't go with you when you quit your job and someone else takes over.
yeah, I'm gonna pull up.
I know you're
Well-
gonna talk about Facebook because we, and I haven't done this because it's not my favorite, but neither is it Rad. So he set it up, but he did like a business account. And the thing about it that's weird to me is I go on it and like I can follow it, but I can't like it. And so it's, I don't know if it's something with how that business account was set up. Because it does not seem to be having the impact and getting like, you know, people following it and a bunch of people liking it like it's meant to do. So to me, there's something with how that business account was set up. Because, you know, I can like the posts that get that he, you know, or admin assistant puts on there, but I can't follow them.
It might be. Are you sure that you're logged in to your account and not that page? Like you're not.
I'm on my
Yeah, you're on your
Facebook
own.
account and looking at that, and yeah, I'm not able to follow it.
Huh. I don't know why that would be.
Yeah,
I would have to look at,
Yeah.
explore more. So I guess like I am an admin effectively of, this is kind of, we're jumping ahead, but just so that I'm an admin. So this is me, this is like my personal Facebook. And then I am connected to, as an administrator, like someone who had administrative privileges to this Montana Association of Conservation Districts Facebook page. When I joined MACD, they went in and found me on Facebook and added me as an administrator to this page, right?
Yeah, I don't think I remember seeing anything
Yeah, this is like this is the Facebook business suite. And if you have a page, then you have access to this platform, which is very nice because it allows you to see your metrics, schedule posts, and
How did
stuff
you
like
get
that.
there to this?
Yeah.
page?
I went.
So this page is set up kind of on its own without a person's
Yeah.
personal page attached. This is what I want to do for students. You can help me with
So
that,
there's
right?
not, like,
There's not a personal person, so
Standalone.
Yeah.
it's a standalone page.
Yeah, it's independent of any individual person. It's kind of like a website. Say it's like a website on Facebook. That's like it's Facebook's version of a website, and you can get added to it as an administrator and then removed from it as an administrator. So you can have multiple people that have like privileges over this certain space. So for the business, to answer your question, I won't dive into the different tools. I just want to, just because we're talking about Facebook, I just wanted to bring this up. So just clarifying for a few people. But when you're logged in, I'm logged in under Eric, but I went to the MACD page and I think, however you get to the page, when this left side panel will change. And it's just this business suite. And I didn't do anything to set this up. It just is there. So yeah, and you have a lot of, I'll show you later, but there's a
So
lot
if they get to this business suite page and your
Uh-huh.
name's up there and they click on your name, can they get to your Facebook page?
let's see. You
This is
definitely
a-
not, this is kind of an admin panel
Yeah, this is
that
in a public
the
view.
public does not have access to. But if you go back, people can't see who is posting. Only other administrators can see who made a certain kind of post. Like
But so
Oh,
this
and it
is what
says
we'll
post.
see when we go to that page. Or this business suite part won't be on that page.
only the owner. So if this is your page, you'll see it, but I won't see it when I go look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
if you two are both on the same,
Right.
say you share this page, you're both administrators in the same conservation district, you can see each other and kind of know who's posting what and who's working on what. Similar to in WordPress, you can see who's working on different posts. It'll be kind of like that, but the broader public who doesn't have administrative privileges to that page won't be able to see that.
Okay.
I'm
I guess I
I'm
was just concerned about, so if they
98%
go to
sure.
my page, will they be able
I'm
to
the-
see my stuff? Because I don't really.
Yeah, no, and I think that's how it's set up. So. Cool. I'll dive back into the presentation and we'll return to this and I'll talk a little bit more about what you can do from that panel. Impact, just measuring stuff, right? Let's see if I have anything else too important to say about this. Oh, I was talking about hard and soft metrics, and I think this is kind of relevant. Hard metrics being numbers, like real concrete progress over time, numbers over time. Soft metrics are kind of, they're not less important, I think, but they're just harder to gauge. And examples of that would be like media attention, kind of the content of that media attention, like how is the tone changed maybe in your local paper? Are they taking more of your news releases if you're putting or media releases if you're putting those out? Maybe
How much, the difference in how much you're promoting yourself or just how much other people are promoting you without having to.
yeah, and that's like one example of it. There are others too, like just even how many like external emails you're getting from people outside of your partners and immediate organization. I don't know, signups are kind of more of a hard metric for certain programs, but yeah. You can also do like informal or interviews with community members and just talk to them. How is the outreach working? Like, have you taken note of what we're doing? And or if someone comes to your event, ask them how they knew about it, right? So thinking about impact and how you're going to measure impact of your outreach before you go do your thing, like before you have your event, will set you up for measuring impact later. Because if you're not thinking about it, you won't know to make that little, when you have a sign up page for an event, you won't know to add that option of where people can just type in where they heard of the event, right? Where did you come from? So thinking about this ahead of time and not just at the, just because it's the last step doesn't mean thinking about it at the end. We're always thinking about impact. This is a quote I stole from our friend next door. This is a John Steinbeck quote about knowing where you're going. You have to know who you are. So you should, before you make any big changes to how you're doing outreach, you should take an inventory of the stuff that you're doing right now. Because I think a good example of this is just in the outreach work group, right, that we were presenting on yesterday. David was, we had no idea of all the different outreach stuff that conservation districts were doing. You know, I had no idea that, I think it's Lake that's presenting after this, Lake CD. I mean, they're doing some really awesome stuff in outreach and marketing. And so before you make a bunch of changes, you want to make sure that you have a good grasp on what you're doing already and how that kind of fits together, right? So that you can fill in the gaps and know what to improve. So these are just kind of a good way to conceptualize when you take that inventory of your outreach, right? A good way to conceptualize of the different kinds of things you're doing. There's kind of different flavors of marketing that you could be doing. There's owned media, earned media, paid media, and they're kind of self-explanatory. I'll be very brief, but owned media is stuff that you own and you have full control over. And that's stuff that's easy for you to edit. You have full access to. You got the username and login. You can write your post, all that. Earned media is a little bit more ambiguous and harder to attain. Right? It's word of mouth. I guess like an example of this is like your search engine ranking, how high your conservation district website ranks in Google, maybe. Because that's, if you know anything about how search engines prioritize your website, it's that's kind of a symptom of the work that you do on your website over time, I guess. And just kind of brand awareness and people kind of knowing who your the tone and mission of your organization. You don't have full control over that, but you can kind of influence it by things you're doing over time. And so this is kind of stuff that is free, but other people have control over, and you're just trying to slowly move the needle on this stuff. And so it's a little bit ambiguous, but it's really powerful, right? And then there's paid media, which is like very what we think of as advertising and, I don't know, traditional marketing, paid ads, you get it. And each one of these has benefits and drawbacks, right? Some are free, some cost money, some have more, I guess, there's a certain level of authenticity with some versus others. Like paid advertising comes off as like less paid advertising, and maybe owned media, stuff that you control, like your website is obviously going to be biased, and paid media is obviously going to be biased, but earned media, you know, that's trustworthy stuff. That's like collective, that's the collective consciousness speaking. And so but also like that earned media takes a lot of time to develop and you don't have full control over that. So just kind of being aware of how your outreach and marketing is spread out over those different categories can be helpful. So that's the second part of the presentation. I think I'm gonna like cruise this. Connection is the secret sauce of effective marketing. So if goals, systems, and impact are like the categories of marketing activities, what kind of makes it all, the glue that makes it all good and working and effective is connection and thinking about your audience, right? That's like, if there are 4 things that you're thinking about conceptually in marketing, it's like these 4 things: goals, impact, and systems, and then connection, secret sauce. So I'll talk a little bit about outreach plans, because I think that's where connection and thinking about your audience is the most useful, right? That's where you're doing it the most. That's where you're formulating your strategy and figuring out what kinds of stuff you're going to be making and doing and putting out into the world. So here's your goals, systems, impact, right? Say for our organization, we've got 3 goals for marketing. We want Facebook page, we want more people at the Soil Health Symposium, and we want more awareness of 310 permits, what 310 permits are in the community. Those are our 3 goals. Each one of those is going to have a system associated with it. How are you going to make those goals a reality? And sometimes they're interrelated. They're not totally isolated, right? Everything's working together, but for our purposes, we'll isolate each system. And then there's an evaluation metric for measuring the efficacy of your system, right? That's kind of how it looks in practice at the organization level. So these systems, we haven't really talked about how to make them yet. And that's where secret sauce, right? We're gonna dial it down to 1 system in this section. So just 310 permits. How are we gonna make 310s? People know what the 310 is. Maybe 310 is the wrong name for it. We should call it something else. And then, so each system has an outreach plan. That's all that's to say. And so within each outreach plan, I've, again, taken someone else's work, and there's a simple worksheet that I've actually used this, and I previewed it yesterday in the talk. It was that first resource that I showed you in the marketing toolkit. And it's kind of dubbed the 4 cornerstones of connection. But it basically, the premise of the worksheet is to take an audience-based approach to developing an outreach plan. And it takes you through 4 steps where you're just thinking about your audience and your goal and how those 2 kind of relate together. And so the worksheet is not long. It's like 2 pages. And it doesn't take that long to complete. It's like a half hour, but doing it, well, you'll think of things that you didn't realize about your audience, and maybe change the way you go about your marketing in a pretty significant way. It has for me, and I bet it will for you. So the first step in an outreach plan is pausing for your purpose. What's your goal from that, right? These goals here on the left. What's your goal? All right. And then who is your audience? So who are you trying to market to? And this could be a couple different audiences. And then what do you want them to do? What's their like action that they're going to take to that will make progress towards achieving your goal? So the second step is to kind of empathize and imagine your audience, kind of get inside their head, put yourself in their shoes. What are their values, interests, and experience? Who do they trust? What, I don't know, what, channels of information do they use? Are they Facebook users or TikTok users? What language do they speak? Do they know what a 310 permit is? Do they know it as like stream side or I don't know. Do they know what DEQ is? What acronyms are they familiar with? That sort of stuff. So thinking about that.
How
Yeah.
with the audience stuff,
Yeah.
I feel like I've had trouble with that in the past, trying to narrow in on that.
Yeah.
Because I think like for 310 law, how I think about it is almost like a general public, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe like maybe like you start thinking about like street side landowners, and I always run into the problem of being like, well, we want to like capture as many people as possible.
Yeah.
But then when you start thinking of it like that, it doesn't really narrow you down at all in a way that's helpful. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I guess my suggestion that's like a tough, obviously that's, I don't know, you kind of want to capture as many people as possible, but that's not super helpful for like developing a strategy, right? That's just kind of an ambiguous thing. How do we get as many people as possible? That's our audience. Like what, so maybe which audience segment holds the most people and is the most versatile. So like maybe that is streamside landowners in your area. But maybe it's also like, and I'll talk about this later, I guess, like realtors and developers and stuff. Maybe that has more impact. But I think thinking in audience segments is useful. It's kind of like you can kind of do everything in plurality, or at least prioritize which, audiences you actually care to be talking to right now. Because maybe the streamside landowners are in the bank. They know about the 310 law at a base level that you're comfortable with. Like they generally kind of know a little bit about, but but maybe some other audiences don't, and you should prioritize them, even if they're a smaller audience segment. And then, so after we get our audience, we're kind of imagining them. What do they care about? What do they eat? We focus and filter. We kind of relate our goals in our audience a little bit. And this is kind of where we're analyzing and coming up with ideas. We're thinking about the call to action, I guess, that targeted action that we want them to take. We want them to sign up for another event. We want them to report 310 violations. I keep using 310, but how does that benefit them? Like trying to relate it to them. It's not all about like what you get. People want to be incentivized in some way, even if it's not obvious. Maybe it's like they can feel a better sense of community, even if it, like, say an action costs them money. They're having a better relationship with their community. They can feel some moral value in what they've done. I don't know. You can kind of think outside the box on that. And then we're thinking about what barriers exist from preventing them from taking that behavior that you want them to take. preventing them from liking your Facebook page. Well, your Facebook page doesn't have a logo and it doesn't have an about. They have no idea what you're doing, and it doesn't even look like it's active anymore. Like, no, you're never posting on it. So why would they like that page? They don't know that this law applies to them because of some technical language. So trying to figure out what those barriers are. And then taking all of that analysis and you're trying to filter it down to we're trying to filter it down to 3 key points, because people don't have the capacity to take in like a bunch of 15 benefits of doing a certain thing. They want to know like 3 concrete ways it benefits them. So trying to simplify, and this is a really hard step, and I think a lot of people mess this up. So even with like photos and visuals, people oftentimes will make their marketing materials way too complicated. Like one good appealing photo of that speaks to what you do and your values and everything is way better than 10 good photos. You know, you just people, it's the impact of one good photo is much more than like a bunch of photos together. It can be overwhelming for people. So trying to make it easy for people to process. You don't have a lot of time to appeal to people or talk to them and convey your point. So you got to simplify. So this is the worksheet. I think I have a 2-hour, so I think we have about an hour left. I'm gonna, do you think it would be, I get the sense that it would probably, people want to talk through some of the demos and talk through some of the issues that they're having, right? That's kind of a priority for people, WordPress and Canva and stuff. So maybe my original plan was to maybe go through the outreach plan and talk through how to fill it out. Maybe I won't do that. Let's see. I'll just kind of glaze over it. So this is the communications toolkit that I showed you yesterday. And this resource, this worksheet that I'm talking about is under planning resources and then outreach plans. Find it here. This kind of covers how to use it, why it's useful. And then this is where you find the resource, right? Goes to the Google Drive. And this is what it looks like unfilled out. You can print this off, have a couple on hand, and you don't have to spend a lot of time on this. Just, you know, one thing per point, just so it puts you in that space where you're thinking of the whole marketing process through. So I've filled one out just to kind of show you what it looks like, and maybe I'll talk through it. And then maybe I did this for 310 permitting in Carbon County. We want to get more people involved in the 310 program in Carbon County. So that's our goal, increase public awareness for 310 program permitting in Red Lodge. That's like not the best goal, right? Could have been more concrete, had a deadline, things like that we were talking about in goal setting. So minus points for me. And then here's some audiences that I don't know the 310 program like that thoroughly, so maybe this isn't super accurate, but you know, I was thinking private landowners in the district, looking at where the rivers are, where the streams are in the county, and then kind of prioritizing those areas, which ones are at risk of different activities. You know, drought related interventions in a stream or river, you know, forestry related 310 permits. I think that exists for like wildfires. They have to build a road across something. I don't know. And then, yeah, so producers, looking at producers, where those are. And then this kind of came up yesterday, and this was my guess at it. I was thinking maybe there were new residents coming to the county that didn't quite know what the 310 program was, and that they don't have that baseline familiarity. So the target action is to contact their conservation district to apply for a permit prior to making any changes, or to report behavior that violates the 310 law. I don't know if that's actually what we want them to do. I think so. But and then this is, I took one, I guess, audience, and I was just kind of brainstorming what makes them tick. Notes on their values. They like locally led solutions. Maybe some of those landowners have a baseline familiarity with kind of stream terminology. Where are the banks? What's a riparian zone? So effectively they can apply their project to the guidelines that I don't know if it's USDA or NRCS or that I guess that the 310 law would then apply, like which areas of the riparian zone 310 permits apply, things like that. Yeah, and then this is kind of new developers coming to the county, and they don't have a lot of experience with conservation districts. They might not know what a conservation district even is. So when you're doing your 310 outreach, like knowing that would probably tell you that you should also explain what a conservation district is too, in that you shouldn't just jump right to the 310 stuff and then throw, you know, Carbon County Conservation District. You should maybe say, like, we're locally led, these are our values, this is what we do, this is who we work with, that sort of thing. And then talking about who they trust, knowing like the political atmosphere of the county, the local administrative leaders, maybe they get their major news from Billings and their local news from a certain paper in town. And then what channels of information, maybe person to person is more effective for some people. And then for, I don't know, people moving in to the county, it's like Chamber of Commerce or something, I don't know, one of the town websites is more effective. And then we're thinking about what proficiency they have in terminology. 310 probably isn't useful for people moving into the state. So how can we rephrase that in a more approachable language, I guess. And then now we're taking all these things and we're focusing and filtering, right? So how does that action, applying for a 310 permit, benefit your audience? Like, why would they want to do that? Maybe it, hopefully they care about the resources of the county, so you can use that as an appeal. You know, thinking about our audience, they care about local business. Probably they care about clean water. It's a very important thing in Montana. They care about the economic, I feel like this county has a lot of tourism, and all these businesses are made possible by the natural resources of the county. The Beartooths and or the water quality and everything. So making an appeal that they're helping business in the area. I don't know, you can think you can see how you need to be thinking. It appeals to their sense of community, that sort of stuff. And then what barriers are keeping them from taking this action? Maybe it's the turnaround time, 30 to 60 days. You know, that can, if someone's thinking short term, they've got seasonal work that they need to do. You need to be aware of that it's a 30 to 60 day, and that's a barrier for them for applying to these things. And you need to be doing your outreach ahead of time and anticipating those seasonal things. People don't know that it's free to apply. I believe, right? And so being very specific that it's free and they don't have to, doesn't cost you anything. Maybe they have this fear that their project will get blocked. I think in some ways that's, I don't know. Yes, but also you could apply, you could say like, these are some successful projects, right? We can focus on like the success of the program. It's not just all about, we're saying, no, you can't do that in this stream. You can't expand here. So yeah, thinking about their barriers, and then how can we help them overcome those barriers? And I kind of talked about this, right? And then now we're taking all that work and we're filtering it down into 3 key points and some supporting visuals and data to back it up. And you might not use all this stuff in your marketing work, but having this on hand is great, right? Free, key point. And you can talk about the financial, if you want to like add some fear into them, you can talk about the financial cost of not obtaining a permit. You know, lead with free and then talk about how there's a cost to not complying. Big tax, people love free. Yeah, that's our visual. And then second key point, the value that that complying with the 310 law has for them and their community. We're going to talk about benefits. We're going to list some, just a couple benefits for them applying for a permit. Natural health, and we can do, for this, what's our visual, we're going to do a couple little easy to read icons. And then third key point, we're going to appeal to community. We think that community is a key motivator in this county. And so we're going to try to use social influence and kind of social capital to motivate them to take that step. Using kind of community language, why it's helpful to the community, things like that. And we're going to show, for our visual, we're going to show pictures with people in them, right? We're not going to just show streams. We're going to show, we're going to try to make them relevant to the 310 program, but it's going to have photos of people. I apologize if that was too long, but I think it's helpful to walk through it and see how to fill it out, because you're more likely to do it on your own if you kind of know what this looks like. And this is me going slightly harder than you have to. This could just be 1 or 2 points per thing.
Can you email those stuff?
Yes, I can email that out.
Because it's kind of nice to have an example. And
oh, would you like the filled out one?
yeah,
Okay.
because
Don't hold it against me. It might be wrong.
well, and whether it's right or wrong, and it might be right for Dusty's
Yes.
area and not for mine.
Yeah.
And so,
But the
it's kind
ideas
of, yeah, the ideas are good.
Yeah, I can send that out, and maybe I'll send a blank one and the example.
Right.
And I'll send it to the listserv that I sent the Zoom link to. I think you all should be in that for that. But again, It's in the marketing tool.
Is your
Fine.
example in there?
What's that?
Is your example? in
It links to the Google Drive.
there? Okay,
So
so we would have to.
yes, but maybe email is sometimes easier for people too, and just keeps it top of mind. It's just the one labeled example here. And then this is the presentation that kind of, there's another PowerPoint. I didn't make this resource. This is a resource that I used from another presentation. So there's a link to that. Okay, I'm gonna maybe for 11 to 10. Oh, so 10 is when my session ends. So we don't have to interrupt this to check out, right?
Right.
Okay. I'm gonna keep going then. And I think we have 40 minutes, so I'll try to go fast. We're gonna talk about Canva first and give an example of how to use Canva. I think there was a training last year on the basics of Canva. Is that true? 2 years ago? How many people have used Canva or have seen a presentation on Canva being used? Yeah. Okay, so I won't go crazy here, but maybe I'll show you. I want you all to have 2 years ago.
It was a while ago.
Okay.
So.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Because
our internet
we
didn't
were
work.
losing internet.
It was fine.
Okay, I'm gonna prioritize Canva and WordPress in the next 40 minutes. And so maybe I'll do 15 or 20 minutes of Canva and then 20 minutes of WordPress. And people can stick around after and ask me questions if they'd like. So again, for Canva, so we're in the communications toolkit, the MACD membership website that I showcased yesterday, membership.macd.org. This is going to be like everywhere pretty soon. It'll be in all MACD's communications. And I'll include, again, all these passwords. These are the passwords for both Canva and the membership site. So this is how you get on. You can use any of these usernames, any of these emails, any of these passwords, and you can get into
So
it.
what if someone else is using it?
It won't kick them off.
Oh, okay.
Does it save your work?
Oh, so we're talking about in Canva. Canva is always saving your work.
So it saves it to that computer,
It saves it to the cloud. Yes.
so you just need to remember to use.
So if you use
same
that generic
account.
password, everybody will see everybody else's work.
Yes. It's not a private space.
Will you just go over one more time how you got there?
Yeah. So here, I'm going to log out. How I got here to this Canva page.
Well, just the,
So this is the
The
new
marketing
membership.
toolkit.
CD thing.
Yeah.
Membership. It's a new website that they just.
So this URL, basically this is the MACD URL, macdnet.org. I'm just logging out so that this is, if you're logged, you're not logged into WordPress or anything. This is the MACD website. In the future, like this week, I'm gonna put a link like up here somewhere to the membership. It'll say like membership login. And then you don't have to remember this.
Okay.
But for
Oh,
right now, you can get there by just typing membership in front of the MACD and then dot. So membership.macd.org. And it'll prompt you to log in. I am still logged in, I guess. But normally you just say, you put in membership, and this, again, the usernames and passwords for this website will be widely available, and you can call anybody and they'll tell you it. It's all the passwords are the same. It's conservation, all lowercase, 2021, exclamation point. Communications toolkit, right? And then we're gonna go to design resources and then Canva.
In this membership, this is only for people that either use
Everybody, no, everybody. Yep. So here's all the login information. You can just remember this. You don't have to go to this page to use it. But this page also hosts some information about how to make, because this is a shared public space with all conservation districts. It takes just a little bit of logistical effort to make sure that things aren't getting messy, and you can access your work from different accounts. And it's really it's as simple as sharing your work with the Montana Conservation District team. And I'll show you how to do that. So, but this, if you forget, it's all outlined here. It's 5 steps, and they're all really basic steps. Not a lot of leaps between them. Yeah, the logical leaps. So log in, select the Montana Conservation District team. So you want to make sure you're in the team, because that will make sure that you have access to the pro features. You have basically everyone when you're in the team setting, you have access to the pro features, the pro Canva features. When you're using just the Canva outside of that team, you'll only have access to the basic features. So making sure you're in the team is important. You make your design, and then you share it back to the team. That's it. So let's go to Canva. So this is what it looks like. And you can just log in with that information that I showed you earlier, right? Any of these will work. So this is wrong. This should say membership. I apologize. Or no, I think you log in with the email, so it doesn't matter. Right, email, yeah. So membership@macdnet.org. This is like the one for everybody, but I recommend that you log into your areas, just so that there's less congestion on the overall membership one. So if you're area 1, use area 1. And then all the passwords are the same. So conservation 2021 ! And we're in. It's Canva. When you first log in, it will probably look like this. You'll be in the personal account. Sorry, I want to make sure the screen. And you'll get all this stuff. You don't need it. We're not using the personal. I mean, you can, but there's not really a point. So you can see in the top here, it says MACD membership. That's because you're in the personal team. This is pretty important. To get access to all your other designs that maybe you made on the other account, your Area 6 account, you want to go to the MT Conservation Districts team. And then you see this try Canva Pro, that all goes away. And now we're in like the pro feature set. Did you get that? So now we can use all those pro features. This is kind of the base camp. Right here is where all your teams show up. And this is kind of the base camp for all the conservation districts in Montana. This is where you'll see all their work. So you might see a lot of work that's not yours. Like we're in the membership account right now, and these are not made by the membership account. These are from the Eric at MACD account. But you can go ahead and create a design in here, or you can make something from a template. So maybe say, I think it's, templates are like one of the great things about Canva. Saves you a lot of time. So let's make an Instagram post, or maybe let's not do an Instagram post. Let's do a Facebook post. And if you're looking for something in particular, you can search it up here. And then maybe I'll search conservation, just so we get a little bit closer to what we're looking for. And yeah, you can kind of see the flavor of the templates kind of change a little bit. This one, kind of the right colors, this one's all right. And you could see how you could start to customize this for conservation districts. This sort of stuff, this will be easy to customize. Let's do this one. So we're gonna do Montana. I don't have any interesting copy to put in here, so you're gonna have to deal with some boring placeholder stuff. So I guess, can all of you see that? Okay. Maybe I'll make it a little bigger. If any of you have used, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the controls for manipulating the images and text in this is pretty similar to like Word or a lot of design software. You'll click on it and you're double clicking to edit the text. And so maybe I want 3 words stacked on top of each other. One thing you can do is press, maybe I'll turn this on. You can do Shift and Enter, and that will do a line break, but not a paragraph break. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but it's a nice formatting feature that you can use across software. It's in MailChimp, you can do this. In Gmail, you can do this. But it's the difference between like a big line break where there's a lot of space between your, when you press enter, and a little line break where the lines just stack very closely on top of each other. Shift enter. Yeah. I bet it does work. If you set up your
Control. I don't.
Oh.
Control enter with Excel.
Yeah,
It might be control enter.
some of these things might be different on a Mac. I have a Mac, and I bet most of you all have PCs. So
Or you can do the old school and just set the line spacing to single.
Yeah. Also, so if you want to do that, I guess line spacing is 0. So if you set it like 4. That's letter spacing. Right. I'm pretty sure. Oh, it actually doesn't work. So basically, this space would be a lot. Or actually, that would be. I'm sorry. This is line spacing, not paragraph spacing. It basically doesn't aggressive. It doesn't matter.
We'll get it fixed up.
Yeah. All your text controls are at the top. You just put in a number. Speaking up for nature. I like it. We're going to do that. And then here's your site. There's, say you want to add some custom flourishes. There's all in Canva. There's like all these pre-made things. Kind of recently, and honestly, my bread and butter stuff are just lines and shapes, just because they have a lot of flexibility to them. But you can easily search, fish, salmon, whatever, and it will show up. Kind of some graphics. But say we want to have like a little border here. We can drag. These are like all basic shapes that are pretty easy to customize. You can change the. If you grab one of the nodes of the line, you can move it around. One thing that's definitely helpful when using Canva is, say I'm trying to get a straight line here. I've messed it up. It's really hard to get it straight, and I want it to be like straight across the top. You can it'll usually snap into place. But if you want things to adhere to a like 45 or 90-degree angle, like really rigid dimensions, you can hold shift and it will snap kind of to these hard angles as you drag. So it actually has 15 and 30, which is kind of nice. But say you wanted to do a 45-degree line, that can be kind of hard to do. Holding shift down while you're dragging, we'll let you do that. So that's kind of a nice trick. And actually it's useful in a lot of scenarios. So here's our border we're doing. The other trick that I'll show you that I use all the time, that's one thing that I use all the time. Second thing that I use all the time is instead of dragging another line, or maybe let's customize this line. Let's make it a dashed line. Instead of dragging each line over individually and turning it into a dashed line, that say you even did more, you change the color, the line width, all that stuff. You make this line super fancy, fanciest line you've ever seen. That would take a lot of work to do it 4 times all the way around the border of this Instagram, Facebook post. Like, that is not worth it. It's not worth your time. What you can do is, I'm pretty sure this is the same on PC. If it's not, I apologize. But I click Option and just drag, and it will duplicate it. You can and you can like drag it straight across. I guess you can also copy and paste, but that can mess up the formatting, and you can drag this straight over to where you want it to be. So again, clicking Shift, moving it over, and then clicking, this is Option. This thing is Option, and boom, we got our border. I think so. There's some preset logos and stuff that you can use. Right now, there's only this one, this like blue one. But in the future, I can add different colors for the conservation. You can quickly have access to that Montana Conservation District kind of graphics. So we'll throw that in, make it smaller, the bottom, and we'll add like a circle so that we can see the blue. Do all you know how to do undo and redo, the shortcuts for that? No. Control. Oh, what is? So.
Use the arrows.
I was gonna say the arrows.
Oh, you can do the arrows at the top. Oh, well, I guess the arrows are honestly.
The arrows.
For me, it's Command Z, and then when I want to go forward to do something, it's Command Shift Z. That's not worth time talking about. Sorry. And so you see how I'm like trying to drag a circle here, and it keeps like replacing stuff. You can select your elements and like. I thought you could lock them. Apparently, do you know how to lock them?
Group blocks.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it so that you can't select them, but oh yes, thank you. You all are experts. Yeah, so now it's not replacing stuff and why is it doing that? Does anyone know? I apologize. I actually don't use Canva that much, by the way. Just because we get there we go. For some reason I was doing that. So what I'm using shortcuts, but you can use command and then the brackets to move it forward and back. But instead of doing that,
So here's a list of all these shortcuts.
I think you can look up Canva shortcuts. So I guess that's kind of why I'm not too concerned with
Most of these shortcuts should also work in like PowerPoint, Word document, not that you design very much in Word documents, but I have before. But
What do you mean? I do everything in Word still.
but PowerPoint should have the same shortcuts, you know.
That's what I mean, it's like.
Yeah.
but everything if you want to move something forward and back, it's all, you can right click on it. And also, I guess you can see the shortcuts here. So command, right,
And you
This-
have to know what those symbols mean.
yeah, bracket, I guess that's the square bracket. And then command shift square bracket. So if you want to move things forward and backward in space, that's kind of how you're doing it. But the most intuitive way, don't have to memorize anything. Right click, send forward and backwards on the thing that you clicked. It can move things in space. Yeah, uploads, you know, you can just drag and drop. Say we go to the MACD Flickr. And we want to grab, this is that Flickr account that I was sharing with you.
You can also upload pictures from your computer,
Yes.
your own logo for your CD, you know, all of that stuff. Yeah.
This went well.
I'm gonna go through this photos and graphics. Let me see. And we like the forest photo. And I think, so it, I dropped it in and it uploaded on the left. And you can do that however you want. You upload stuff straight from your computer. I guess downloaded this and then I'll move this back in space and replace. Oops. The other thing, one last final shortcut, is really easy to remember. Your arrow keys, right? I don't know, left, right arrows, up, down arrows. That moves things 1 pixel at a time. So instead of trying to click and drag stuff, you can also just hold your arrow keys and you can get some really like precise movement and just wait for it to align the way you want. So you can left and right move things just right. And then we'll send it to the back. So now we got our own photo, whatever. You download it here in the right. PNG, JPEG, normal image stuff, PDF. And SVG can be somewhat nice because those are vector graphics and they're very sharp, no matter what resolution you change it to, if you care for that sort of thing. But I won't download this. I'm just going to share it And so this is the only other important step that I feel like we all should be on the same page about. Making sure, see how MT conservation districts, there's a little camp view. That's our team. That's what we need. We need to make sure that they can view and edit this document. So we're in share. We're checking to make sure that they can edit. Oh wait, okay. So I'm going to the little I and then do can edit, right? And we'll see the pencil. And that means it's accessible to edit from across the team. A good, yeah, try not to edit other people's documents.
Yeah, so do you have to fit in it? Can you just, if you want to save it?
You can do can view.
Just so that if you're saving something for yourself that you're working on, that's something you want.
Yeah, I would try to put trust in the group to because if you sign into the area account, say you're in the membership account right now, the general, everyone has access to it. If you're in the area 6 account or area 5 account, you won't be able to edit this document. So I don't know, just
So for
changing.
yourself,
I think it's nice to, I don't think people will mess with it.
You need to do,
You
you
can-
mentioned like those of us that have WordPress account or an ACD account, that will eventually be how we log in individually to the membership.
The membership website, but not Canva.
But
Not Canva.
Canva.
Yeah. I'm sorry, the logistics of this, of the Canva thing is just, it gets really, really expensive when you start to add 100 people. We get 10 for free, which is like awesome. And so, yeah, this is no cost to districts. This is free.
And if we only did can view, would that prevent us from going back and editing our own work? Like, once you save as can view, you can't edit it again, or could you?
You can edit it again on the same website. Yeah.
And if you created something and, like I said, left it on there, so anybody who logged in has access to that, but you need it as you designed it for yourself, you need to download that on your personal machine to have and use and still leave what you created on Canva.
Are you talking about the final document, like the
Like if
image?
this was the final document you
Yeah.
created for your district, and
Yeah.
you needed to use that, but you're still leaving it on Canva for other people to use as a template,
Mhm.
you need to download your final product onto your personal
Yes.
machine.
And so when you see this download button,
That's up there. Yeah.
this all just downloads to your computer. So the Canva file, the production file, stays on Canva and is accessible to everybody. This is not on your computer. This is like a Microsoft, this is like a Google Doc kind of situation. This is the Google Doc, and then you can download the PDF of the Google Doc. It's the equivalent stuff.
Well, once you download it onto your computer, you can't, it's in a
Can't-
PDF, you
it's in a-
can't
right,
edit it.
Exactly.
So-
But you have the product you want to
Correct.
use that you created in Canva. and that's
Yeah.
how you have to
You can upload,
What's that?
So,
conversely, you can upload other things to work on in Canva,
Um,
or did it all need to be from scratch?
You can. Oh yes, that's a interesting. This is an awesome like pro feature. So there's not like a Canva file. You can't like download like my Facebook post dot Canva like you could like dot docs, right? It's not like a Google Doc that you can edit. This is like Canva's private software, and you can't download it to your computer and then open it somewhere else. It's all, but you can if you have a, there is an import feature, I believe. So if you have a PDF that was built in Canva, say I downloaded that as a PDF, PDFs save like layer information. And so you can actually, I don't want to spend too much time on this because we're running low. But there is a,
one thing with the downloads while you're doing that, I download all my PDFs and stuff, or all my flyers that I'm gonna print out as PDFs. If I want to put something on Facebook, Facebook doesn't take PDFs. You have to download it as a JPEG and save it as
Mhm.
like a picture. So if you want your flyer to be posted on Facebook, you save it as a JPEG and you download it as a PDF to print, but the JPEG can go on Facebook.
I'm gonna try this really fast, just because I think it would be really awesome to show you all. So here's your designs. Oh, I didn't. Save it. Whoops. But let's say this thing. You can sorry. We're going to download the PDF standard. And then I'm going to say you're on your personal Canva account. Pretty sure this, well, say someone shared outside of the Montana Conservation District's team, watershed group sent you a Canva. You can ask them for like the PDF, standard PDF, and then you can try to drop it in here. And I think it will import with all the layers.
That's only the program. So we need to be logged in.
I think you have to be logged into the MACD team. So this is what the PDF that I just dropped in, and let's see if we can edit. Yeah, so here's the text, which is pretty good. So that's, I guess, as close as you can get to the like Canva sharing actual Canva files, I guess. You can also share it with individual people, type in an email. But I don't know if they'll be able to edit stuff with the pro features. You try. There's no harm in trying. I apologize if that was fast and kind of discombobulated, but I want to jump into WordPress for 10 minutes. Does anyone have any like burning WordPress questions that they really want overview? I'm sorry, it went fast. What's that?
I didn't do it. I know
Yeah.
it's website building.
Sure. Some basics of post editing and what a post is and pages.
Let me ask a question that's not so much WordPress, but just about website.
Yeah.
One of the things that our fire research on was reluctant to do was like actually delete any pages, or like if we took down material, we had to keep track of what it was, just in regards to like the record retention. And I don't know how that relates to websites and social media stuff. Like if you have a page that's say you have a history page or an about us page.
Yeah.
And you want to, revamp that, or you can go to the effort of totally redoing your website. Is there a need from a record retention standpoint to keep any of those old web pages? Does
Yeah.
anybody know that?
When I was at a conservation district in Walla Walla, we kept a lot of almost all, we didn't delete pages really, we archived them. And so that they are still accessible in the database. All the website database infrastructure is still there, but it doesn't show up as an active page. Search engines aren't like going to it. It's a feature in WordPress. Yeah, you can just
archive. Right now, we just set them all back to draft. So they're
Yeah.
not publicly viewable. But anyway,
Is that just to satisfy like record retention?
yeah,
And-
exactly. Yeah, and so that's kind of a related, separate question. But you said WordPress has like an archive feature.
Yeah, I'll show you what that looks like. So here are your posts. This is the WordPress backend for any of you who haven't seen it before. This is what the maintenance of your website. How you get here is say, this is your URL. This is the front end URL of your website. This is the home page. This is, your conservation district URL. Takes you to the homepage of your website. All you gotta do is, you can look this up on Google, how to get to the back end of your WordPress website. But you can do // WordPress admin there, WP dash. And then brings you here. And you can see this is kind of where all of your different features, plugins, posts, everything is on the left side. This is your main menu. Where people will usually be traversing are posts, media, and pages. Those are kind of like bread and butter stuff. Posts are like, there's a time hierarchy to them. So they, examples of posts would be like meeting minutes, events, things that you want to stack, become less important with time, less visible with time. And so that's kind of how the hierarchy is structured, what things show. It's all just chronological. Whereas pages are static. They're always, it doesn't matter when they were published. They're always going to have a certain default visibility. There's ways of making posts like permanent and always visible, but by default pages, that's what pages do. Like your about page, your contact page, your home page, stuff like that. So that's the difference between the two. And so what was just asked was how to archive posts or archive pages for records retention. You can kind of see the different, there's a couple different categories of posts in the process of making a poster page. There's drafts. When you first create a post, you have to, it is standard to be created as a draft page for post. And you have to publish that page for it to be viewable on the website, on the front end of the website. And so what you were doing was making everything, putting it back to draft, which works. That works. But it also mixes up with all your other drafts if you have, so it's just kind of messy. And I think maybe there's probably some other issues with that.
Issues getting into the back end, do you have all of our information?
I can reset your password. Yeah, you can reset your password if you know your email or username. I would assume it's your work email or username. So I would just put that in, say I forgot my password, and it will send you an email with a link to reset it. Okay. And you can then put in whatever you want.
Can usernames be reset?
Yes, from my end.
Our username is the last district administrator's name.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if it could be reset.
Yeah.
You could just have an alias.
Yeah.
Or you could be added to administrator and take that up.
I think if you go to users, so let me just answer your question really fast. Sure. Quick edit. How I got here was you hover over each item. This is like February meeting minutes, January meeting minutes. Hover over whatever item you're trying to edit. There's the edit option, which will take you to the full edit screen where you can type away and edit the content of that post. Or you can do a little quick edit, which is kind of helpful for doing little changes, changing the metadata of that post. And you can see the status of the post. It's published, so it's viewable on the website. And where's the archive? I'm sorry, I thought their archive would be there. I think archive might be some additional functionality that we have on the MACD site that I've just assumed was a core WordPress function. But what you're doing, the draft stuff, I think that's fine. I think keeping them on the website is a good idea, though. Yeah, I apologize.
No, that's okay.
Misled you there.
But I guess to carry that one step further,
Uh-huh.
we need to get to that version here. But in other words, if you're just going to keep the page and edit it, so that is like each time you edit a page, for instance, like when new stat comes up
Yeah.
and stuff, that's not something we have to archive what you had before and all that. You can just edit that for your content.
I don't think so either. And I think you're fine to do that. You can, there's actually like a built-in version system in WordPress that's kind of hidden actually. But if you ever, I believe that if you ever get into some, trouble where you need to show something on your website that some information was there or wasn't there, I believe you can go back into that version system and look at how that post has changed over time and actually restore different versions. I won't get into how to do that, but it is a real, that you should know that exists. And what was your question? I'm sorry.
Just if you could change this.
Yes. So I think if for your specific user, you can go to profile, and you might be able to change it here. Okay, so your username can't be changed. I might be able to change it because I'm the network administrator for the whole MACD website, or the whole MACD network, which includes all the admin panels for every conservation district that has a website on our server. So a lot of you, I'm able to help you like one-on-one and just log in with my username and password and like make changes to your site if you need me to, or just check on the health of the network, the site health and everything like that. So I might be able to change the username, but you can change your first name and last name. And that's what shows up on the front end. Like if you have some feature that says this page was published by Eric Ramstad, and Eric Ramstad is not the current administrator of the website, you can change the first name and last name. And that's what shows up on the front end, not the username generally. So
one thing to her question, one thing Kate Parker did previously told us is we were all three employees were logging in under the same deal, and she advised us that was not good. Like we should all have our individual account on there.
yeah.
And so she set that up for us and basically told us to get rid of the like joint account so that it was tracked on who's doing what.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's still.
I think it's recommended. I don't think it's a huge deal. So it just makes things, you can find posts published by certain people. It's good for filtering, but not terribly a huge issue. I'm going to go through some basic stuff. And I'm going to stay here. And if people want to stick around, they can. But anyone who wants to check out and take a break, I'll probably end in 5 to 10 minutes. I think we have a half-hour break. So if folks want to check out of their room, that's totally good. You can take off.
It also looks like you might need to install an activate archive post status plugin.
Oh, yeah, probably. So one thing about plugins is that you can so because we're on a network of conservation district websites, we can't, individual people, one individual website can't just install a plugin, because that could compromise the security and integrity of the whole network. If there's a lot of like sketchy plugins that you can install if you're not careful. People can write whatever they want. Like I could write a plugin and it could mess up the WordPress multi-site and everyone's site could go down. So to prevent that, only the network administrator can install plugins. And so we have a list of plugins that can be activated, and a lot of your websites have those the like core ones already installed. But if you need something specific, you should reach out to me and I can install it for you. I'll point out that because I didn't quite get to everything I wanted to, on the membership site, this is like something that I'm developing pretty much anytime I do like a one-on-one now where I'm helping someone with an issue. I try to write up, like, especially with emails too, it's so easy, but write up like a little guide on how I did that thing, because a lot of the same questions keep coming up. And so I'm posting stuff, compiling, oh, I was just there, these WordPress, these website guides. And so there's like a basics of WordPress guide right here that
That's good to refer back to, because sometimes you're like, oh, I finally got this, and then you go back to it in a month and you're like, I don't have this.
yeah. And this is like specific to the MACD website. Like I think WordPress is great because it's so versatile. You can use it for like a gajillion things, online stores. There's a million ways you can create a network of different sites and subsites, and all of them have their own kind of intricacies. And some online tutorials they don't know what your network setup is. They don't know what kind of page builder you're using. And so it's nice to have some MACD network specific guides that are specific to how the ecosystem that we work in. And so this is kind of an attempt at that. It goes over what the WordPress multi-site network is, what resources are shared between everybody, and then this is kind of a abstract diagram and not super important to people, but I think there's a lot of confusion about how everyone's websites exist individually. So that kind of explains that. The limitations I talked about, and then this is kind of the core stuff, the anatomy of a WordPress website. So what users are, what user roles are, how to change user roles. That's like a network administrator thing in our network. So you can contact me if you need a user added or something to a website. All the different user roles and their default privileges, like what they can edit, what they can't. The difference between posts and pages. And then we have 3 different editors in WordPress. There's the WordPress. This is like a big piece of confusion, I think, is the actual act of editing a WordPress page, the different editors that you can use to edit that page and how to switch between them, and kind of an explanation of how to use each one. So there's like a classic editor, there's a fancy new Gutenberg editor, and then the WordPress Bakery page builder, which is what a lot of conservation districts use. And there's like a link to the tutorial on how to use it. And there's also it talks about how you can switch between them.
Is it normal to switch between them? Because I feel like I do, because it seems like they do a little different things.
Yeah.
Is that how it's intended, or would it be better to just get more proficient at one?
I have a so how I do it is I have a default page. Are you all kind of
I
familiar
don't
with what?
WordPress because
Okay.
my supervisor did ours. We have weather stations and he has all the weather stations on
Uh-huh.
ours. On our
Well, that's-
website.
yeah.
And so I never delved into, listen to the different things we've done, trainings over the time that I've never, but I don't see having two websites.
No. I think if you have something that's working for you, that's great.
Well, I don't know if it's really working. I'm like, could you update the tree listing? Could you update the cost share? Put the new one on application or whatever, but it's really basic.
So to answer your question, well, page builders are how you fill out the content.
Yeah.
I usually have a default page builder that I use, and if it doesn't have a feature that I want to use, I'll switch it. It's isolated. Each page builder is isolated to the page that you're editing on. So you could have your about page be built with the Gutenberg editor, block editor, which I'll just show you really fast how to switch them, and that'll be my last point. And then you all are so patient with me. I'll be free. So this is what the block editor looks like.
But I think, okay, so you're very available to get a hold of,
Yes,
but you only work part-time, right?
I work 30 hours a week.
30?
So Monday through, honestly, I work every day. So you can,
So we could
contact
do
me on Friday. But yeah, I think it's more just there's a thing at the top where you can change between the different editors.
So are you saying that Julie could edit her?
No, I can't do anything. Fine.
Yeah.
Oh, you
I don't
can?
think this is that applicable to you
No.
if you're not on WordPress
No.
with us. But
I don't even know what it is actually.
honestly, I literally I think it might be the dimensions of this web page.
It's
Yeah,
just not her
I
weather
can-
station.
I can picture it.
It's right here. It says switch to WordPress bakery page builder, and you can switch them. But this
I'll call
is
you for with
this is
questions.
one.
You
Yeah,
said-
you can call me with questions.
That's frustrating.
Anyway, that's
Nice.
WordPress. Thank you for sitting with me.
Thanks for the presentation.
Yeah, you guys can call me anytime with issues.
Thank you.
It happens. It can be overwhelming.
Like last winter is like right when I started, I spent a lot of time just playing around on WordPress because it's like Chris had me doing.
Yeah.
And honestly,
To some degree, I feel like that's just how you have to learn, right? It's just like
yeah.
just do